To print or not to print? This is the question that anybody who has ever wanted to start a planner business asks themselves because, like you, most people love printed planners. They go into Office Max, they go into Office Depot, Staples, or even to Walgreens. You can find planners everywhere, the bookstore, and you flip through them and you think, this is so pretty, but if only it had this, or it had different colors, or you see other planners, power sheets or something online, and you just think, I would love to create one of my own. So then you say, well, how much does it actually cost to print? And can I do print on demand? So let's just talk about all of those options today because it's totally doable. And quite honestly, it's getting more, I guess, less competitive, I want to say. If you notice, the Happiness Planner just dropped out. They were going to do like printed planners forever. And they were like, we're going to close up shop. We're never making any printed planners ever again. And that's great because that means there is space for you to enter the market. There are plenty of people still buying printed planners. So don't get afraid. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get scared. Don't kind of start doing it. Stop doing it. Be a little hesitant. That's how you're going to fail. You can make printed planners and you can make money. So let's talk about that today. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa from Pretty Fabulous, and I help online businesses create pretty pages using Adobe InDesign and using Canva. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. We post new videos every Tuesday. All right, so let's talk about print on demand versus printing in bulk. Now, I know what you're thinking, print on demand, that sounds so great, and there's really nothing wrong with it. I just want you to keep in mind, print on demand is limited. First of all, when I'm saying print on demand, I don't actually mean like print one at a time. I'm talking about print on demand where you order 50 or 100 upfront in bulk. That's really the minimum, especially when it comes to dated planners or anything pretty that isn't a notebook or a t-shirt. It's just going to have a minimum order run. And it's much smaller than a bulk run overseas where the paper is cheaper. Say in India, you can do a bulk run, but you usually have to do 1,000 at a time. So even if it's only $20 per planner, that's going to be $20,000. Did I do the math right? I think I did the math right. So it's going to be an outlay of cash that, one, sure, you might get it back, but two, you might not. I don't know. I'm not sure what your marketing strategy is or what your plan is or how soon you got them or if you've even talked to your target audience or what your website looks like, right? There's so many other factors that go into this. You can do it. Again, I'm not saying you can't, but there are a lot of unknowns. So why would you ever do that instead of just doing maybe a 50 or 100 print run? Well, there are many advantages to doing the large order quantities with the major printers overseas. One, they can probably do sleeking, gold foiling, color printing, have the exact paper thickness that you want versus print on demand. Your choices are much limited, and that's because it's print on demand. It's doing a shorter run for you. You want those beautiful rose gold coils? Well, you might have to go with a different solution. Or if you want to put pocket folders in there, corner protectors, if you want chipboards, if you want anything special like a sticker sheet, or different bookmarks, right? So all of these different things and your tab dividers as well, those add up. And your options are very limited when you do a smaller print run versus when you use a major printer overseas. So that is one reason why we are going to talk about doing the major printers overseas. So let's say you get it down to 20,000, and that's assuming you were able to design it yourself. So if you weren't able to design your own planners, and you could sign up for Planner Academy where I teach you how to do that. But if you don't, then you're probably going to pay a graphic designer anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 to create your logo, do the layout, and that does not include making that file print ready. So every single printer is very different. I always say to pay them, the printer directly, and pay a graphic designer to take your final design file and make it print ready. Don't try to do it on your own. Don't try to get a list of specs. Just let them do it. And that way, two things. One, it will most likely be done correctly. And two, if it is not done correctly and your printing turns out wrong, they will fix it because they were the ones and their person is who made the mistake. Versus if you took the specs, they'll say, hey, we gave you the specs. It's not our fault. You can't read them. And most of those specs are pretty technical and very difficult to read. So that's always my recommendation. So now you've got your design, your logo, everything is great. You have your printer, you have your print run. So you have 1,000 planners sitting, I don't know, in your house, if you have a large house, or in a warehouse, a fulfillment center. Now you actually need to package that order. And remember, this is the one place you shouldn't skimp on pricing or do the cheaper option, because packaging is 70% of the purchase in the buyer's mind. So their whole experience, if you have beautiful packaging, even if there's something ugly inside, if it was inside a beautiful box with pretty crinkle paper, some nice tissue paper, and a sticker, they're going to be pretty happy. I know. Crazy, right? So we don't want to skip on packaging. Some of those boxes cost, some of them you can get, okay, so we have 1,000 boxes. We can probably get a pretty good price if we get plain old brown cardboard looking boxes. However, you're still going to want to jazz it up a little, either with a stamp or a sticker or some ribbons or something. So that's going to cost you a little bit of money. Now, if you really want a nicely designed box, you're going to have to pay for a box designer. Totally different type of design. I tried to design a box before. It didn't look right. So I think you're always better off doing a box designer, because they're better with patterns. So I am not a surface pattern designer, and I think that is a different specialty or a different skill set that you would like to invest in, specifically for a box too. The other thing is the printing. So the UV printing always looks the best and doesn't come off as easily. And so that is another premium price point. So Taylor Boxes is my favorite box, like branded box printing. And those boxes range anywhere. I think the lowest one they have is $40. So now you're paying $40 just for a single box. And yes, I know you're thinking, what if I buy in bulk? That is the bulk price for 1,000 is $40. Some of their boxes I think are like $140, $160 for a box. I know, like, there's nothing in it. It's just a box, but they will do those boxes. You know, sometimes you get something and it's custom made for the shape of the product that's in there. That's Taylor Box, like the most high-end box company that you'll find. Anyways, you're going to need boxes. So that's going to be, and then you're going to need crinkle paper, you're going to need tissue, the postcards that go in there, all of those things that help enhance that packaging experience. So, and not even talking about tape to seal it. So that alone is probably going to be another 20,000. So now we're up to about 55, 60,000, and we haven't even paid for shipping. So you're obviously going to want to pay for shipping with a tracking number. So all of this together, let's estimate it to be, let's say you do your due diligence to try to get everything lowest cost possible. And keep in mind, things coming from overseas, India, China, they all have tariffs and they sit at the docks for a long time. Sometimes things are sitting there for 6 or 8 extra weeks in embargo. So you also have to do this well ahead of time. That's why we're talking about this now. This is the perfect plan, right? Perfect time right now to start thinking about your 2024 dated planners, designing them, ordering them, having them shipped out, getting ready for all of that. So at this point, your 1,000 planners are costing you about $50 each, and that's before shipping. So how much profit are you really going to make off a $66 planner? Probably not a lot once you add in shipping, especially if you live somewhere like I do in San Diego, which is, I think it's zone 7, like the US map is divided up into different zones by the US Postal Service. And depending on where you ship it out is how much it's going to cost. And, you know, when you live somewhere that's like out in the middle of nowhere, it's going to cost more versus living in New York or Chicago or San Francisco. Those are much less expensive to ship products to and from. So at this point, you want to make sure, 1, this is something you really want to do. 2, you want to make sure you nail your design, because when you start thinking about the printing cost, you can lower that cost by getting rid of gold foiling. You can lower the cost by getting rid of color on your pages and maybe having mostly black and white. So these are things that you really need to consider and think about before you actually send the design in. Like, what really makes your brand, your planner stand out? Is it the color pages? Is it the gold foiling? Is it the corner protectors on your chipboard cover? Is it the O coil? Is it a cheaper spiral coil, right? So all of these things, we talk about all of this in Planner Academy, but these are just things you should know ahead of time so that when it comes time to get that quote and go back and forth on the pricing, you know what really matters and what's important to you. So to wrap this all up, you can print planners. You can start a business. Just remember, print on demand is going to be 50 to 100 planners in one sitting, which might be great to start out for year 1 or just a trial run. And 1,000 definitely something that you're going to have more an investment in. You might think about getting a business loan. Could be a business loan from your aunt, your uncle, your parents, or something else to go ahead and get started. So very excited to see what you create. If you have any questions about printing, leave them for me below. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day. And remember, if you would like to create your own planner, sign up for my free course, Planner 101. I will leave a link to that below. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day. I think I said that before, but I wish you're having a double fabulous day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.